at Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory for the Malice in Wonderland. I was maybe going to skip it this year, but I really like Alice in Wonderland stuff. And last year was pretty saucy, so I'm kind of interested in see how that was last year. Yeah, it was very interesting last year. So here we go. I don't get to come to this a lot because I'm working at Haunted Forest, or Forest of Screams, the Haunted Forest of Screams. There we go. I can talk. I like when I actually get to do something. So pro tip, haunt actor to other haunt actors. If your whole shtick is basically taking the most obvious sort of physical trait and making some, oh, you're this, just get new material or just stay quiet. It's not funny. It's not interesting. You're not cool. And if the person has ever been to a haunted attraction before looking like they do, they have had at least 4 to 10 people per attraction already say that, and they've already said that thing either funnier or worse. So, and also I got eyeliner, glasses, and beard. I don't get the Mr. Clean. I don't have an earring. I'm wearing all black. I'm a white guy with bald. You just might as well go, oh, he's bald. You know, I mean, you can do Captain Picard or Professor X. I haven't heard those ones. But in my one buddy, you know, tall, thin, makeup, long black hair. Oh, Marilyn Manson, Marilyn Manson, Marilyn Manson, Marilyn Manson, Marilyn Manson. Me, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Get new material, or just stay quiet. Just saying the most obvious thing isn't interesting. It isn't funny. It isn't entertaining. It isn't scary. You know, and the one thing is, like, if you're going to be working in these things and you're not doing something scary, be entertaining. Just doing the base level thing like that isn't cool. And I know, like, things like this sort of 18 plus, you know, Valentine's Day thing, whatever they're doing, you know, this is Malice in Wonderland this year. They've done like Cupid's Revenge and Blood, this, that, and the other thing before, and it's supposed to be a little bit more risque, a little bit more thing. You know, there's a couple people who are emceeing the karaoke, which kind of screwed up the lines. Really liked, in a sort of juvenile way, being able to cuss and say supposedly shocking things when it was really just sort of like, oh, you're 13. Okay. But yeah, don't just go with the most obvious physical trait. It's neither scary nor entertaining. So real quick review for the Malice in Wonderland at Haunted Schoolhouse, not Laboratory. First thing that was kind of the thing that has actually kind of ruined the whole thing for me is they did a not good job marking out the lines for the speed pass. Kind of sacrificed clarity to have this karaoke stage, and I appreciate that they're trying to do better at kind of entertaining people in line, but even when I asked people, they directed me to the wrong place. So I spent an hour and a half, even though I had a speed pass, I spent an hour and a half in the regular line. And part of the reason it was so long was apparently someone was being, and I quote the person who let us all know this, a dick. And that kind of made things last a lot longer. I get it. You can't really control that. However, side note, if you're in a closed space that's very crowded and there's people who've been consuming alcohol and there's a lot of heightened sense, maybe trying to make a chant of everyone saying, fuck that dick or something along those lines, not wise. This is someone who has worked in things like residential treatment and day treatment, riling people up who are already in like kind of heightened states like that in a close thing. Maybe not wise. So maybe not do that. I understand maybe you're frustrated if you had to deal with them, but yeah, the potential for a bigger problem was pretty huge at that point in time. So I respect that they're trying to do stuff to keep people entertained, and I respect the fact that like the people who were kind of emceeing that thing were, again, trying to keep energy up, trying to keep things entertaining, keep things running and stuff like that. But again, like I had said in a previous part of this, it really just seemed really juvenile. Like a couple of people really liked the fact that they could just scream really loud and use their voice and say, you know, supposedly risque things. Not really risque if you're an adult, but maybe if you're 13, it's sort of like, oh, he said pussy. But yeah, that whole thing fucked up the line. And the people whom I asked where things were going and how things were flowing didn't give me a clear answer. So speed pass person wasted an hour and a half in the regular line. So that kind of, you know, I'm trying to take it in terms of like, okay, this is good training to release yourself from your kind of acquired mind, sort of thing. And I was doing a really good job of that, until maybe the last 15 minutes. And then I just sort of like, I kind of ran out of meditation juice a little bit. And, that's on me. I can't blame Haunted Schoolhouse for that. That's on me, but their sort of lack of clarity in that is sort of on them. I respect too that since the people who own Factory of Terror bought Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory, I forget how many years it is now, but it's been a few. They've really done a great job in updating things and making things interesting and keeping the scenes and the sets kind of flowing and changing the sort of waiting area. They've done a really good job into making something kind of more. I noticed a lot of things, like some of the bigger stuff looks like it's directly from Factory of Terror, I think. It looks like it. So they might have been kind of like shipping stuff over and kind of like, okay, we'll ship this from here to here. So I'm looking forward to see what Factory of Terror has done. That they've kind of, you know, what they've done in the place to replace that. Normally I wouldn't come on a Saturday, even on the regular season, let alone on specials. But Friday, this Friday, we had our first session doing Daggerheart in my little D&D group. And that is very important to me. And I love the people I play with. And so I went on Saturday, it being the actual Valentine's Day. I tried to come earlier, but stuff was sold out. But yeah, a 90-minute wait or more, even just with like a regular pass, not with a speed pass that got cattle shunted into the wrong group, ostensibly, is too long of a wait if it's just the schoolhouse. Since these specials don't have the laboratory part open, it is kind of too long, especially since you're lumped in with bigger groups and kind of have to move faster, because there's just such a huge group waiting to go through as well. So yeah, I mean, I love Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory. I like the fact that the people from Factory of Terror, when they bought it, aren't just sort of resting on laurels, or actually trying to do stuff. The thing I kind of have a problem with they're doing, and I haven't been to Factory of Terror in a couple years because I'm working at Forest of Screams, but I do follow them on social media, and they're doing to Haunted Schoolhouse what they're kind of doing to Factory of Terror by the looks of it, and really, really focusing a lot of energy on going to the bars. You know, Factory of Terror looks like they had like one bar, and now it looks like they've got 3 or more, like one bar per haunted house or something like that now. And they're focusing a lot on that. They're doing that here with Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory, and that's fine and great. You know, some of us have been sober from alcohol for 20 years this June, so I don't know, that's kind of lost on probably a not insignificant amount of the customers that you have. And if a lot of your focus and effort is more on let's get people partying and drinking and less on making the event as smooth as possible, priorities might need to shift a little bit. And I understand that this is a 2-night special and things might be, you know, during the season, or, you know, if it's like a Christmas Krampus thing that is, you know, 5 nights across 2 weekends or something like that, then that will change, you know, some of the focus and everything of things, and the maybe effort put into the maybe boring parts and the logistics. And again, understanding things like, you know, you can't help if people are going to be dicks and kind of fuck up the line for everyone else. You can't really help that things are going to be really busy. You probably want, in a certain way, things to be very busy. But in preparation for that, you know, you got to do what you can to make sure that things can run through. And I'm not the only person who bought a speed pass who was either misinformed or sort of cattle shunted into the wrong line. I saw other people with the little red guys on there too. I was not the only one. So the actors and the people up front need to be better informed. There needs to be, I don't know, signs. And I kind of started to veer towards the way that it had been, not just like last year, like over the regular season last year as well, because I was able to come to a Thursday last year for the regular season, let alone for the Valentine's Day thing last year as well. And everything kind of went to the left through the thing, and that was the Speed Pass one. This time apparently was to the right, didn't have signs. The, you know, karaoke performance stage, love connection stage thing that they had was kind of in the way, and the people who we asked pointed us in the wrong direction. So yeah, logistics over drunkenness probably needs to be focused on a little bit more. And yeah, I'm trying to not let the fact that I was stood in line for an hour and a half and my social battery, especially after I taught this morning and I did Lunar New Year, my own demo for half an hour, and then I did the Silk Road Cultural Collective Armor demo with that too. So I had, you know, a quick change turnaround in 30-pound armor and did that. You know, I took a nap, I ate, I took a walk, I meditated, I did stuff like that. But, you know, when I realized that I got shunted in the wrong line, and I'm waiting all that, and someone was holding it up for everyone else, and then, yeah, my little introvert social battery dried up. And I, you know, it's on me that I did not really enjoy it. It might have been different if, again, the laboratory half would have been open, because that way it's like, okay, there's a little bit more to do. There's a little bit more of the attraction that's going on, and instead of just kind of like the one thing. And then, you know, really the focus is on people drinking, and I don't drink anymore. So but yeah, like, again, the sets are amazing. The goofy, sort of kitschy, funny stuff where it's just sort of putting like red lights or love things and little hearts on some of that stuff is entertaining. It's funny. There's, you know, there was some good energy from some of the actors. Again, some of them just saying the same shit that you get at every single thing, the most obvious fucking thing that you can, which is boring. Couple people were trying, couple people had like a good shtick going on, so that's always appreciated, especially since I'm more of an atmosphere guy, and when I work at Forest of Screams, I'm more of an entertainer than kind of scary guy. I know my place. I know what I'm better at. I'm better at being a goofy entertainer guy than scary guy. But yeah, so it's still Haunted Schoolhouse. It's still a great attraction. It's still been maintained and updated and refined in really great ways. But yeah, the focus on the bar, the sort of lack of care of the logistics of it, and yeah, a couple of the actors just sort of doing the most basic shit. Yeah, it wasn't, especially since I live in Cleveland and this is Akron. You know, maybe I wanted it too bad. I wanted it to be like really entertaining because I don't get to go out to these things that much anymore. You know, working during the season, I don't get the chance. And also, like, 2025 got progressively shittier as time went on. So this was like the one little sort of like, I saved up little treat because I've been unemployed for 3 months. I saved up little treat, like I've been waiting for this and kind of put money aside and put money aside and put money aside, you know, when I had it from teaching or doing project stuff or something like that. And just kind of was a little bit of, had some bummer parts to it, and all this sort of life stuff kind of made those bummer parts a little bit multiplied. So still love Haunted Schoolhouse. I still love these like off-season specials. Looks like Factory is going to be doing like a St. Patrick's Day thing, which I know because it's St. Patrick's Day, everyone's going to really be about drinking and then probably about fighting, because that's all St. Patrick's Day is. Besides, you know, imperialism coming into Ireland and, you know, killing pagans. And then in America, it's just corned beef hash, drinking and fighting and wearing green. So, yeah, again, I still like the off-season specials. Generally have fun with stuff. I understand the flow. I appreciate that they're trying to be entertaining in some things, but personal stuff and logistics things made it kind of a bummer. All right, that's all I got for right now. I'm going to repeat myself for like a 20th time saying the same shit. Cheers. I don't make the rules. Everyone just looks better in eyeliner, myself included.